before we get into it, do we have people in the room that have a sales background? Anybody from selling at all? A couple of people, but mostly no? Fantastic, I love that. I absolutely love that. I started in sales in the late 80s. I know I don't look that old, you can tell, thank you. I learnt some things. I started in the automotive industry, which is very structured in the sales process and very regimented and very trained. And I just assumed that that's the way everybody does it. Thank you for sitting up the front. I really like that. You're the only person who did. I just imagined that everybody sold like that. And there were a lot of principles that I learnt that I applied to my business life outside that industry and my personal life in some ways in terms of negotiating and buying and selling and things like that, which I found incredibly valuable. But I just assumed that pretty much everybody has these skills. You know, if you do a law degree, you'll pick it up, or, you know, it's all fairly sort of basic stuff. And it's remarkable over the years, particularly since I've gone into the training side of things, that I've discovered that a lot of people don't really have some of these skills that I'm talking about, or haven't had the chance to be exposed to them. And I've found them that I love sharing that. My life is training salespeople and talking to salespeople, but I really love getting in front of people like yourselves who don't necessarily see themselves as salespeople, to be able to share with you some of the skills and strategies that you can apply. And it's amazing how many different applications that we find with these skills that we're going to be talking about in the next 3 or 4 hours. I'm just kidding, it's not, it's 45. That we're going to be talking about that you can apply. Hopefully it all makes sense as we go through. The inspiration to really lead me down this path came from a few years ago. I was asked to be a speaker at South Bank TAFE, just down the road, for some students studying for the graduate certificate in entrepreneurship, which I'd never heard of either, and talk to them a bit about selling and things like that. And they asked for a specific topic, and it was good fun. Met some nice people. At the end of it, question time, a little bit of a chat besides the lectern, and a guy came up to me and he said, look, he said, I spent the last 2 years setting up my gemstone importing business. I want to import them and sell them directly to the jewellers and the jewel makers and whatnot. And he said, I've got everything done. I'm up to that point where I'm going to take it to market. I don't know what to say on the phone. His entire business, 2 years of his life, had ground to a halt because he didn't know what to say on the phone. I was absolutely stunned that he would invest so much time, and I'm guessing money as well, but it had ground to a halt. I was absolutely stunned. There were some simple strategies. He was very happy to find out that it's not just something you have to make happen, that sometimes if you don't feel particularly strong in that area, there are things that you can learn. I believe in some fairly basic principles about selling, and one of them is that great salespeople are made, not born. Every single person has the ability to sell. And I know some of you in here do some of the things that we're going to be talking about in the next few minutes naturally, organically. Could be because of the passion about the company you work for, or the passion about what you do, that you sell to people. It's real. That stuff you can't learn. You have it inside you, and people pick up on that. But there are certain strategies and things like that that we can employ to make us better at doing that. You'll see some of the things we're talking about today, say, yeah, I do that already. And other things you'll go, oh, that's interesting. I can apply that. Okay. This selling process, it's boiled down to a small amount of steps. I have to say I'm a teeny bit skeptical when I see sales training programs that involve books, training manuals that are that thick, and 2-week training sessions and things like that. I'm very skeptical about that because I don't believe it has to be that hard. What we've done here is boiled it down to its bare, smallest aspects. And I'm going to walk you through each step today about how it works. This process works. Why do we need the process? Well, essentially, when we are selling to someone, perhaps we're selling the suggestion of a merger between our two companies. Maybe we'd like this person to come work for us. Maybe we'd like to work for them. Maybe we'd like to put a proposal. Maybe we've got an idea or a service that we would like this company to adopt. Essentially, what we are talking about is we're talking about approaching someone who has a certain thought pattern, a certain belief about something, And we'd like to change that. We'd like them to adopt our thoughts. We'd like them to adopt our idea. Now, the simple thing could be, well, why don't we just say, you know what you should do? You should do this. Do people respond to that? You usually get 3 or 4 words into it, they start to sort of give you the reason why you shouldn't, even if it's a good idea. Nobody likes to hear, you know what you should do? We can actually create that change in them by following these steps. I need this process. I love this process because it helped me in my sales career. This is what my wife tells people, I am the most insecure, confident guy you'll ever meet. I need this process because it helps me do what I do. It doesn't come naturally to me, it really doesn't. Okay, so I'll give you a definition. This definition, I think, as a salesperson, changed my life. It gave me a different way of looking at what I did as a person who was approaching other people and wanting to change their thoughts about something. Too often as salespeople, we find ourselves looking at our selling or as someone who's going to a job interview or something like that, hoping to convince someone that we are the person to hire. We find ourselves thinking, I hope this person does me this favour. I hope this person buys what I'm selling. I hope this person agrees with me. I hope this person hires me. We really, really hope this person does us a favour. And it's such an unhealthy way to look at it. What we should be doing is we hope this person does themselves a favour. We, by meeting this person, are doing them a favour. And we need to remind ourselves of that. The thing that inspires me is this definition. Selling is helping people make decisions that will make their life better. Everything I do, everything you saw on that list of steps in the selling process, it all comes down to this. Selling is helping people make decisions that will make their life better. Everything I do. Selling is doing the little things. Selling is doing the things that other people don't want to do. And it's easier to do when you genuinely believe that you are helping someone make a decision that will make their life better. When you go to that job interview, or if you're putting forward that proposal or suggesting a proposal between our two companies, selling your company perhaps, you're helping someone make a decision that will make their life better. And it's important that we remind ourselves of that. The next definition is this selling process. The thing I'm going to run through with you today. It is a tool for creating and managing relationships. It is a tool for creating and managing relationships. And you think about it. When we go up to someone, when we approach someone for an idea, it doesn't matter whether we're selling ourselves or our $10 million company or a toasted sandwich maker. The principles are the same. People like to buy from people that they like. You know, that personal component is so important. We need to have a relationship. This is about creating that relationship and leading it to the conclusion that we want. We want the person in front of us to adopt our way of thinking. We want them to go, you know, I like your idea. You know, I'll go with that. We want them to come to the conclusion that we want. By the way, as we go through this, if anybody has any questions, please sing out. If anybody wants to argue, I'm up for that. You could be right, I could be wrong. Okay, the first thing is connecting. This is the platform that we build this interaction on. This is so critical, this personal relationship. Everything else, if this doesn't get right, if we don't get this right, everything else is worthless. Connecting, what does that mean? Essentially, when we are approaching someone, we are trying to convince someone of our point of view, it's a lot easier if they like us. How do we make people like us? How do we make people like us? Look for commonalities, talk about things that they like. It's actually an art to it. It really is. That not everybody does get. You know, when we do walk into their office, take for a job interview or for a business proposal or something like that, as you sit down, if you see a picture of their boat, or somebody's boat, we assume it's their boat, ask about the boat. They would love to talk about the boat. Fantastic. We're talking about something that they're passionate about. See a picture of their kids. Fantastic. Great. Are those your kids there? Let's talk about that. People love talking about these things. They love talking about themselves. How long have you been with the company for? What gave you the idea to start the company? To create this person feeling positive about us. We as humans are tribal. We like to be with people who are like us. We like people who have the same prejudices that we have. You know, if we sit down and the person says, you know, I really hate the actor Tom Hanks. Sit there and say, I hate him too. I only use that as an example because nobody hates Tom Hanks. Come on. Seriously, nobody. If you do, leave, please. I just couldn't deal with that. I really couldn't. Commonalities are fantastic. That bond, that yeah, me too reaction is an important part for that person letting us in. Did you want to have a seat? There are seats down here? That's okay? All right. Those commonalities are important. And we do them naturally. It's a natural thought process. If I start talking about my kids, what do you think about? You start thinking about your kids. And we say, yeah, my kids do that too. There's a little bit of a danger zone with commonalities. You'll find it, let's say, for example, let's say we meet and I remark about how, my 40th birthday party, the local bowling club at Redland Bay, and got a little bit sort of rowdy, and the barman at one stage had to tell us to settle it down. And then you respond with, my 40th birthday party was at a burlesque place in Paris and the police were called. What have you just done to my story? You've just blown it out of the water. And quite frankly, I don't like you very much now. By the way, one of those two stories is semi-autobiographical and semi-true. Probably best I don't go further on that. And anyway, these commonalities are an important thing. They're an important part of managing the relationship, allowing that person to be themselves and come out. And it takes discipline. All of these steps take discipline because our natural urge is, you talk about your cat and tell me a cute story about your cat, I want to do the same thing. But a disciplined person who's managing this relationship to the right conclusion is going to go, you know what, I'm not going to go to town on my cat story. I'm going to laugh at yours and say, yeah, my cat's cute too, and move on. Such an important part. Listening. This is an incredibly underrated skill, I have to say. And it's one of those things I always feel when I'm talking about listening to a group of people, I find myself thinking, there's probably going to be a bunch of people going, everyone knows how to do this. I've known it since I was yay high. Everybody hears, but so few people listen. Hearing is automatic. Hearing is a reflex thing. Hearing is just a natural response that we all experience, but so few people listen. Listening's hard. Listening takes physical effort. We listen with our eyes as well. It takes concentration. It takes self-discipline. Example. I would absolutely love to think that throughout the entire 45 minutes that I'm here in front of you, that you're going to listen to every word. I'd absolutely love to think that, but the truth is you won't. It gets tiring. Eventually, you find yourself thinking, I wonder if I should pick up pizza on the way home tonight. How come you never see baby seagulls? Oh, he's just said something interesting again. I'd love to think that you would hang off every word, but we tend to filter out the things that aren't important to us. When we're in front of someone, one of the nicest things we can do is to listen to them and have the discipline to not allow ourselves to meander off into our own thoughts. And it's actually a lot harder than you think. The fact that we're aware of it is I think, 90% of it. We can catch ourselves not really focusing on what the person is saying. Quite often we find ourselves, we're just waiting for the other person to stop talking so we can start talking. Halfway through what they're saying, we've already thought of what our response is going to be. That is a natural reaction. If you catch yourself doing it, you got to stop it. Questions are a critical part of this process. As I say, we're leading someone from this thought pattern, from this mindset to the one we want them to adopt. And just telling them won't work. We lead with questions. Questions are the tool that we control conversations with. That's interesting, tell me more. When they do tell you about something, that follow-up question, giving them an alternative choice. So where was your favourite place to work at, here or the place you worked at before? People don't respond to being told what to do, but we can lead them to the right conclusion by asking the right questions. And follow-up questions are absolutely fantastic because it shows that we're listening. It shows that we're actually taking on board what they're saying, and we'd like to know some more about it. And as I say, as someone who wants to have a certain conclusion out of this relationship we're setting up, questions are the way that we lead. People don't respond to being pushed, but we can lead them through questions.